It's a great feeling to know that you've joined us during our first Game 3 of the LPL for 2019. Welcome back to Vici Gaming taking on Suning Gaming with the Super Team versus the Developmental Team. This is Raz, I'm Hysterics. You know us by now, but do you know that Vici are great to watch, even in the midst of a defeat?
Look, I'm worried. Because I was already swinging the banners for Vici.
We went full Vici.
I just want it to happen, man. I know the story of Suning coming together, the LMS squad coming in for this team. Like that means a lot for their, I guess, for their future, their immediate future.
It's nice watching your children grow up, essentially.
It's nice seeing Vici, who for the last year has been basically pummeled time again. No expectations there, suddenly being able to perform with just Puff and Southwind. Even in the game that was a loss for them last one, I thought Puff and Southwind were still performing excellently within the lane. So I would love to see how this series ends. I want to see if Puff and Southwind can do it. Volume 3, like how is that lane going to turn out? And what ultimately the major question is how Jay is going to perform under the pressure now that Maple and Hacker have him on their targets.
Because the major change is this time it was a story about Maple and Sword Art as well. Hacker seemed to be a bit more responsive towards that bottom lane. In the mid lane, Jade got bullied time and time again on the Syndra. On the Galio before, it seemed to be okay, but now with the change around, does Jay go towards some of these assassins you see on your screen?
Like, I think it's likely. I think the Akali, if he gets his hand on it, it's the one key attributing feature of Akali is that she's actually rather safe. When you are under threat, let's say in an Aurelia, or if ganks come through, just pop down your W, your Shroud, and suddenly you're fine. And if you have your ultimate post 6, like sure, level 6 ulti does give you a lot of damage, but it's actually a hell of a great escape tool as well.
Yep.
So I think that Akali is something that has not been banned as frequently in this series and something that he would want to have his hands on.
And when top lane is playing something like the Sion, something a bit more passive, Chalitza in the first game was on top of the Renekton, so there has been some change in drafts. It's good to see that a team like Vici, who maybe developmental team, we might cross that out after today, depending on how they go, or even the next coming weeks, they look like they can adapt in the pick and ban phase, and it's good to see the coaching staff adding to that as well. Yeah,
and I think that the pick ban is going to be the most important factor of it. I know that the Rakan was smited away, but the big pick for me was the Alistar. Sword Art had a hell of an Alistar game. It got through pick and ban, and he picked it up in third when simply Sword Art, or at least when Puff and Southwind said that we didn't need the Alistar. We can go against the counter pick if we don't get our hands on it. Suddenly the priorities change. Not because Braum is a poor pick, in fact they got solo kills because of it, but because Alistar is so strong in Sword Art's hands, and Southwind, if he's able to get it, the team fights were so good for them when they had the Rakan last time around. Alistar is just a great second engaged if you don't have the Rakan in hand. So like I just think that it's going to be really focused on that one.
And what we know is that Alistar was such a big part here for Suning. In game number 3, is it going to be dominant? Who really knows? Because game 1 was essentially a bit of a stomp by Vici Gaming. Game number 2 was essentially a bit of a stomp, and I say bit of, you know, quite lightly, because there were elements of surprise from both teams in both games.
And I think we got to see Sha'Al breathe. Like, that was the most important thing.
Absolutely.
In game 2, we got to see Sha'Al really be able to leave and impact the opposite side of the map. And he got to do what he was known for, flank in team fights, have an insane amount of pressure. When in game 1, he honestly had zero pressure. In fact, when he had tried to go for a flank play in game 1, he missed his ultimate and then instantly died. Like, in terms of just like execution was not up to his own standards.
That wasn't a miss, Raz. I don't know what that was. That was, what did you say? His imaginary friend sending out that ultimate. So Xiao has played 2 games now of the Urgot and has been impactful in, I say, both?
I would say that, like, he didn't meet his own standard in game 1. He definitely hit his standards in game 2.
Oh, yeah.
This is the Sha'Al you should be expecting in game 3. So for Chalitza, it's definitely a big challenge for him to go up against Sha'Al, who's not really getting a lot of the pressure from his jungler. Hacker is not going top lane that much. He's going mid lane pretty heavily, and he's trying to help out bot. So it's literally going to be 1v1 top lane if Chalitza can hold him down.
Top lane has been an absolute island in this series, only coming to those team fights and only seeing jungles go up there just to clear their camps. Now, early game jungling, the scuttle contention in game 1 didn't really happen. We saw a triple buff there earlier on by Ikes, and we thought, oh my god, this is just going to happen again.
Yeah, it looked really good, and I thought Syndra was getting a lot of DPS down just based off the blue buff alone. The issue is that you can't just rest on it. You know, a jungler can't hand over blue buff and say, well, see you later. You're never going to see me again.
You'll be fine.
Like, you do still need to put some pressure because the post-6 Lissandra setup is always going to work on a Syndra with no cleanse. And so you still need to give it some love, and you need to speed up the game so the Syndra, that is able to help in your bot lane ventures. She actually had no eyes on bot lane. She never had the ability to rotate away from the mid lane. And I think that was the main factor of why Vici just stalled in the early game.
Came around to Dragon, and it was that one big fight around the Infernal Drake that got the ball rolling for Suning. Now for Vici Gaming, the surprise was already here in Game 1. Into Game 3, the bottom lane still the main focus, with Jay adding into the mix. Game 1's composition worked. Maybe we see the revisit again.
And here we go. I mean, immediately questions about revisiting those picks are still available. I mean, the Galio is up, Camille and Jarvan still up as well.
Yeah.
Galio will get banned. I'm just going to put it outright. Suning have to respect it that Jay wants to first pick it, and you can't just ban out the Camille and expect them to not have this set up is something they've realized.
Limited bans on the board. Suning opt in for the Rakan as well, and I have to say that's still very important. Denying Southwind and Puff from the Xayah Rakan bottom lane. Now Cassiopeia is a staple, and you're expecting, all right, what is going to be left up for this first pick?
Yeah, I would say immediately just assuming that Galio is going to be banned, I would expect there to be Alistar first pick. I do think that Alistar is just thrusted into first pickable.
What's going to be the first pick there? Alistar
This would be
changed
surprising.
over.
I think Jay is a strong Aatrox player, so it can be flex, but I think Southwind would want to go on to what he has been comfortable with in the past.
Could also go to the top side of the map as well. Chiliza was on a carry in the first game. Similar playstyle to Renekton, and we'll find out where that truly sits, but locked on down. And now Suning have a wide variety of options. Xiao 2 games in a row. Will it be the third?
Now, Urgot is just a clear, easy pick up against Aatrox. Aatrox sure has great flank pressure once and disruptor in team fights, that's true. But in the laning phase, Urgot just outranges him, outdamages him. He should have an amazing CS advantage. Like, that's what we've seen at Worlds. That's what happens in solo queue. That's what you should expect. If it's Xiao Al versus Chalitza, that's going to be the lane that comes true. If the Aatrox goes mid lane and if it's in for Jay, then I also expect Maple to pick up the Urgot.
So definitely props to the flex at the moment of the Aatrox, because you're not sure if you're Suning, but you're assuming. SMLZ finally gets his Ezreal though. He's playing a different AD carry each and every game, and he ends up on the Ezreal in the third.
Yeah, Ezreal is something that we've been seeing denied pretty frequently. Finally, SMLZ picks it up for him. Remember, Ezreal does have lane pressure now. With the change from his old W that gave him attack speed, or at least his allies' attack speed as well, to what is just a damage boost to all of his abilities. His auto attack, his Q, his E, ultimate. Like, that's just nice to have within the lane. He was already a great poking champ, now has the ability to add that much more damage to his all-in.
Means he can slap Puff in the face on that Kai'Sa. We haven't seen the Kai'Sa so far in this series. Puff putting it all on the line towards that scaling game, especially when he's been playing towards these early games. What is Ike's going to do, considering that this bottom lane might not be as fast pushing?
This is looking like a picture-perfect teamfight comp now that the Sejuani has been locked in. So your answer, or at least the question that you had about this focus towards the bottom lane, I don't think they touch it. Like, immediately knowing that the Ezreal is such a safe pick, and they had to have known that Sword Art is going to go back to the Tahm Kench he had in Game 1.
Yeah.
At this point, I think you just go mid and top lane. It's going to be Maple and Xiao Al that's going to be under threat from the Sejuani's early game.
Hacker still doesn't have his jungle though, so with that applied pressure, we need to see what champion he pairs with it. Alistar is the first ban of this second phase, though, something that made it all the way through, with Vici Gaming prioritizing that jungle over potentially maybe Southwind's support.
Now I wonder what Southwind is willing to play here, because no Rakan, no Alistar, perhaps they even just take away the Braum, whatever. Just throw all the support bans his way and make it hard for him to breathe. I think that's going to be the ultimate goal for Suning, because for Vici to say that they're now going to give Southwind no priority in his pick, I think that's a pretty risky venture in Game 3.
There's definitely a change in playstyle in this draft that we've seen so far from the new Vici Gaming. Now with that Alistar ban, Pyke comes through too. Remembering what's open and available, I mean, against Tahm Kench, the Thresh is banned away. Yep. What's left for Southwind?
I think from this point forward, maybe he just goes towards I was thinking a Braum, but I think he needs some form of pressure as a support. It's hard to say. At least knowing that you have the Sejuani as hard engage and that maybe Aatrox can come in flank, you can give Southwind some a mage, but it's hard. I think the only way you give it to him is if you're willing to take that risk in a game 3.
We saw a Zilean yesterday, Raz. Now, it was in the mid lane, granted, and it was a bit of a mess. This time, more than likely, going to be going towards Southwind or maybe even Jay if that Aatrox sits in the top lane.
I think it goes to Jay. I think it's very clear that it's going to be a Jay pick, but we'll find out because they have to show their full composition right here.
All right, final pick. Show your cards. Raz.
Is it really?
Is it really? What a great question from you, sir.
Oh,
it is.
Yes.
It is. It is Zilean support. And Jay,
so
welcome.
Let me say this, because the Akali is something we want to see from Jay. We talked about at least pick Akali, even if it is in a tough composition you're going up against, even if the enemy team has the Lissandra, give Jay that safety in lane with the Shroud, and give him the mobility to really pick and choose his own fights.
Yeah.
So he knows that the Lissandra is still going to be an option. So yeah, he was aware that it was going to be a Lissandra pick. Hell, maybe Chalitza actually picks up the Akali. We'll have to find out when 20-second hits the clock where these picks end up going. But the real pressure was is the Zilean. Zilean in solo queue is actually a good counter pick into Tahm Kench.
Yeah.
Range matchup, and also if you want to nail down the two people, especially if Tahm Kench eats Ezreal and they end up trying to back away, double bomb, stay still, my jungler follows up with a gank. There's a lot of follow-up here, and you can slow the Tahm Kench if he's trying to head towards his tower. So there is some form of gank potential here in the bottom lane.
Oh, in 20 seconds, we found out exactly what the answer to your previous question was, Raz. Akali in the top side for Chalitza, and we're going to see an Aatrox mid. So props to Vici Gaming, leaving that one to the last moment. There are so many different flexes here that were created by the Vici Gaming lineup.
Vici's definitely a smarter drafting team now.
Oh, yeah.
This draft was really well done because I was sold into the fact that he was like, all right, give me a bad lane. I just want Akali. Right? I was like, all right, Jay, what are you showing me? Are you showing me that you just need Akali no matter what? Because that's a bad look for your first series. But no, immediately throw him top lane. The Aatrox mid is a good matchup that I like to see. It's such a short lane too, because you know you throw Aatrox versus Lissandra top lane, you're like, okay, I think Lissandra a little better because she has a longer lane to escape with, and she can really chase you down as well, lock you down, gank potential, all of that good stuff. But Aatrox is going to be sitting at his tower for the most part, and he's going to find opportunities to get an all-in on the Lissandra, and that's why I like the matchup a little bit for the Aatrox.
And it's going to be a lot harder for Hacker to get into that lane. Aatrox has the ability to take these 2v1s. Aatrox has the ability to make these outplays. Jay has given himself the tool this game. Rather than just playing the laning plays, he can play the fight and look for something more.
And remember, patch 9.1 just hit live for Chinese solo queue yesterday.
Yeah.
So people are actually not really knowing how to deal with the Sejuani. Sejuani and Aatrox, when you have a melee paired up, the passive works so well.
Wait for the start of this game. Game 3 of Vici and Suning. We didn't think we'd go this far, but now we're happy we are. I don't... Okay.
I'm a little sad for the Vici fans right now, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
They were pretty loud and clear in game 1. I'm not losing faith, all right? I'm
like
here with them.
Chanted together. I feel like they just did it on top of each other. So.
I mean, well, I wouldn't like that. I think that's just against the rules.
And it's gotten messy here. It's gotten to game 3. I'm sure the fans weren't expecting the journey.
Yeah,
they'll enjoy the ride. So, good heads-up play again from the bottom lane of Vici Gaming. Just understanding the invade comes through to red, so we might see a bit of that vertical jungling there with a deep ward on the side of Vici.
Ooh, you got to watch out for that one. Haven't seen Olaf in some time. Has the Predator pick up. You expect that. I wonder how long Hacker is going to be staying in this jungle. Is if you're going to go for Krugs as well, because he wants to find his first base so he can get his boots and enable the Predator for his first gank.
Yep.
All of this is what you want. And invading is great. Like, you get that experience advantage until Sejuani tries for your own. But you do need to have a good path if you're trying to do this. So he's going to get Raptors and maybe go and fall back to the Scuttlecraft.
Some early vision down the bottom side. Vici Gaming expecting maybe that gank to come through, so they've dropped a couple of wards, and crowd has flip-flopped onto Suning after game number 2.
I mean, 45% is still a lot.
It is.
Honestly, the fact that Vici Gaming has 45% of the fans in their favor is insane.
We never thought we'd see the day. Hit him. 1-2. Xiao out. Walking up now. We didn't talk too much about Chaliza in this matchup against the Urgot, but of course Akali as well doesn't have that range, so going to suffer some of the similarities there as the Aatrox would.
Yeah, it has tough matchups, honestly, but once again, the Shroud does so much. Obscurity is a hell of a drug. You know, you try and deal with it. You're like, offensively, you can do so much with it. You can proc your electrocute so much, but remember, this is fleet footwork, so already knowing that you're going to be playing passively and trying to sustain as much in the laning phase, and then on top of that, you just get so much sustain anyways inside and out of your obscurity when you get your first item purchase. So really, Akali is a great sustain pickup in this lane, especially after first item.
Plus you got teleport, as all top laners should, to match Xiao out. So there's not going to be any issue there already. Bottom lane for the first time might not be the point of focus. However, Puff and Southwind are pushed up quite heavily here. And onto the bottom side, that Predator jungler.
Oh, no.
Doesn't have his boots just yet, but there's the flash forward, eaten up. I think this is going to be Southwind dying. The Ignites drop down, the flash forward, Undertow secures it. Hacker with first blood.
And of course, SMLZ just has to throw the Kench emote. LPL, I love you. You know, you got the ability to just throw that on your opponents. But yeah, I mean, this is what you expect out of SMLZ and Sword Art. They really turned it on after game 1. Just the go button being thrown out there. They know that Southwind, even if he has a resolve tree, is just way too squishy of a champion to deal with the all-in that Tahm Kench has to offer.
I mean, Hacker hadn't even started on the vertical side of his jungle. Hacker doesn't even have his boots for the Predator gank. Walks in, takes first blood. And a Predator jungler with first blood, the snowball potential is absolutely massive.
Yeah. Threw out his flash for that one. So, I mean, when he finally bases, please do, getting access to Predator will probably go back to the bottom lane because it's the easiest of the 3 lanes to really deal with. This is the first time in the series that we're now questioning Puff in Southwind's laning phase. Yeah. This is going to be the most difficult. Now, it's going to be Vici challenging their other lanes to answer, to respond. That it's not just going to be the Puff and Southwind show.
I think Jay was trying to respond to the bottom lane or maybe make a move, because he moved out of mid lane and he's lost so much CS. He's 20 down at 4 minutes in the game.
Yeah, that's rough. Especially, as I said, is anyone else going to take ownership? And Jay immediately says, nah, not me.
I'm out.
I'm out of this one. You throw it towards Chaliza. So hopefully he's going to try and respond, but it's not a good matchup for him. He's already getting pummeled, and you can see that Hacker is pathing towards that lane. So if he gets hurt any more Qs and auto hit him, Xiao just looking him right in square in the eye, then that's just the go sign for Hacker to follow through.
It's looking pretty calm, Xiao. Third game on the Urgot. Oh, not spotted out. All right. Moments away from Maple just running into Jay. Goes back and picks Caulfield's Warhammer up. So at least there's some damage there, but Maple was able to pick up an amplifying tome with a corrupting potion as well. It's just so annoying at this point against the Lysandra. And Ike's can't do too much just yet, but topside is blind. Vici Gaming do have vision control.
This should be the last camp for Ike's to actually pick up, but he's going to be needed here bot lane. You can already see the rotation here from both Maple and Hacker, so it's happening. Whether Ike's wants it or not, he's in the wrong side of the map. Double control ward.
They're walking away. Glacial Path. Maple is level 6. Southwind again. Oh no.
Alright, here we go.
Predators there. Southwind.
Bring it on.
Use a chrono shift. Double bomb underneath turret. It was a dream. But his dream is gone.
That was so cool up until he got obliterated. Like that was like his HP. Swoop.
Just gone. Like a minion in the mist.
At least some gold's gonna go back into Jay's pockets, but like now he's going up against a 1-kill Maple, so like that's still gold there. This is gonna be brutal here for Vici.
And bottom lane got 2 turret plates. Again, 6-minute mark. Time seems to be a big factor. Jay willing to take the fight against Maple. There is a bit of damage output now that he was able to back. He was also able to pick up some of that CS, so they're only down to a 10 disadvantage. This is okay for the mid lane, but okay being the key word.
Still fairly behind, so just with direction, like the discussion of like where you're going to be heading now if you're Suning, should be pretty ruthless. The direction of your composition, especially if you have an Olaf. Wait a minute.
Now, ultimate is available for Jay. He cleanses, and with the fear out from minions, Hacker says that's enough, but ultimate expended by the Aatrox.
Yeah, Aatrox is just about to hit the end of his ultimate, so he might want to stay underneath his tower on that one. But talking about the composition Sinning Av, it's pretty ruthless and straightforward. It's surrounding Hacker and his what he can do early on. He's just about to hit his Predator once again, so now that it's going to be available, there's really nothing stopping him from continuously rinse, repeating, looking for bottom lane until Zilean hits 6.
Well, Ix goes mid lane instead of going towards the Dragon, but Glacial Path out, Maple flashes and makes it look so easy.
Yeah, clean, and for that, Hacker just solos out the Dragon at the same time. So while that's a good gank to go for, I mean, neither of them lost their flash for that. That's still early Infernal Dragon for Suning.
That damage is so much bigger now. It's so much more dangerous. Puff, even under turret down in this bottom lane, is getting pushed out. SMLZ, he can just arcane shift forward and say goodnight. Puff is out of lane.
And one of the questions I've seen from Twitch chat, because I'm watching you guys, I'm taking notes, is which composition is better later on in the game? I like Vici's composition because it's very straightforward. Not only is Sejuani a hell of a tank to be able to walk forward and have Southwind back him up, Kaisa damage. Jay should, alongside Chalitza, should be able to come in through flanks, disrupt, and push SMLZ from ever really joining these fights. And Hacker's impact, he's the real issue here, is the Olaf as the game goes on is just a health bot. He'll try to charge in. It's just so hard for him to really get to the backline of Puff and Jay to begin with. But then you have Southwind who's going to be holding his ultimate. So as the game goes on, it's actually going to be really difficult for Hacker. So that is all theoretical. The reality of the situation is that Suning just has a great snowballing comp, and they're currently just snowballing. They have a pretty large, substantial lead.
Yeah, we've got to get there first as well, Raz. At this point, Suning hold the cards. It's a 2k gold lead, and bottom lane doesn't look good. Mid lane looks stable. Having said that, Jay now catching up even further as Maple tries to move around, get some of that vision towards the bottom side. The top side of the map, however, is a good news story here for Vici Gaming. Chalitza is in 10 CS towards his name against an Urgot.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good for him. And he's actually forced Urgot to go towards the Hex Drinker early on, which only helps in dealing with Chalitza. Like, if Jay decides that he's going to be taking topside and the matchup responsibility is suddenly switches from, Akali versus Aatrox, oh no.
That's Fear Beyond Death used against Chalitza. But he still has the ultimate available. Perfect execution. It's going to be used here. Xiao Al, you weird-looking crab monster thing. 1-2, but Hex Drinker comes in handy there. Has to back away.
And here's a gank immediately towards the bot side.
Killer Instinct there with a Glacial Prison locked down onto Sword Art. The Tahm Kench the target. They can't kill him. Predator into the bottom side. Vici Gaming underneath turret. Still fearing for their lives. SMLZ walks forward. But Ix is happy to take the damage.
This tower is so low, and good call from SMLZ. If he didn't get up out of there, he would have been double bombed. You can see how close both teams are to being able to just get a kill in their name bottom lane. And the only reason why that happened at all was just because of how aggressive Chalitza and Shao were top lane. Pretty good idea of where the enemy junglers are.
They're just letting this go, though. This is going to be first turret blood. All the turret plating over to Suning's bottom lane. Super Team playing through one of their star players, SMLZ and Sword Art. And it begins now. Ezreal, the snowball is real.
See what he goes back to get for himself. At this point, should be going straight towards the Trinity Force, I think.
Yeah. We'll see. Manamune picked up first. No elements of Trinity Force apart from that longsword to head towards the Phage. The bottom lane heads top, and Puff has started working down on this turret, but look at where Hacker is. Predator is almost up and available. 3 turret plating there, which is okay for Puff considering.
So I like the fact that Southwind is already ahead of the curve, cleared out vision towards topside before Suning even went towards the area. Now, it's not going to last for long. Hacker's going to be there, and you're going to give all ownership to Hacker. He's snowballing around now. He has his jungle item complete. You're not going to touch him, so he's going to clear out. But at least it makes it that much harder for Suning to really solidify vision here.
Chalitza going in once again. Shroud being used perfectly.
It's going to be tough for Xiao Al, honestly. Just based off of how you play around the Shroud. You don't want to use too many resources. Earlier we saw him using ulti when the Shroud is available. That is just a key loss in DPS. And Chalitza could just go for the all-in if he ever finds that opening.
Well, both ultimates available for those top laners down the bottom side.
Uh-oh.
With a couple of small sustain, but Jay, I'm not sure if this is the right play. Goes into ultimate form. He will drop down here, but they kill Maple first. Hang on a minute here. The mid laner from Vici Gaming has so much damage output. Tarmkanch has to flash away. And Hacker's going, what just happened?
Yeah, that was initially a turn on to Jay. They knew Jay was in there 100%, and they thought they could get the kill. Just surprised that Maple was turned on so quickly. That actually means so much. 12 minutes into the game, they can actually just go for Rift Herald, and there's no way for Suning to really stop it without putting themselves into fight range.
Jay walks through. He might not have ultimate, but he's still strong. Puff good dodge away, but Sword Art's in. Flashes because the teleport's here as well. The stun just to save the day from Southwind, and Rift Herald has to be fought away and given over to Suning.
Yeah, that was key. Great that teleport was enabled by Maple, so he was going to join them. But even just the pick off at the Puff. I know Puff didn't die off of it, but the fact that he was in a bad position, had to flash out, really reposition Vici where they had a good play on the map.
At this point for Vici Gaming, top side still the defense continues. 35 seconds till turret plating disappears again, but at this point SMLZ has picked up enough gold. He's happy to leave this one dropping. And Maple's just going to get what he can from the mid lane. With Demolish there, he will get 160 gold. You got to say, so much turret plating has been taken in this game alone.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people would expect more kills out of 13 minutes for the LPL, but just looking at the gold being accrued from not just the turret plating, but also just perfect CS from SMLZ and Maple, that's impressive enough. Like, that's crazy. So the game is actually just being accelerated by not just the CS, but that. Solo turret plating finally gets it just as it dies.
That was the very last tick for SMLZ, 160 gold. Next back is going to be the Trinity Force, or at least close to. They can continue pushing in this now flimsy turret. And Puff still has to fear for his life. Maple is missing on the map, and they don't know where Hacker is.
Low-key, this is the most jacked Ezreal I've seen.
It's going to be the most jacked Aatrox, so he ults.
Yeah, he needed to get out. He thought that like, you have to respect Maple's range because he has flash. Like, that's just how it is, man. So with no ultimate there, sure he keeps on to his summoner spells, but the issue is just that if there's a fight, he won't be able to help.
Puff, killer instinct onto SMLZ. He gets a final block, but with the Chrono Ship, he'll come back alive. Xiaoao's here, but the Chem Drill is about to be stuck into Puff. Never mind, it's an instant kill over to SMLZ. Predator prop with the Ragnarok. Flash out from Southwind. Ace might have to do the same. The turnaround. Southwind has no ulti for himself, and even the Chem Drill not needed.
That was slick. Coming in with the flash to get the double man slow, and of course is going to get the kill onto Southwind. Right now, Suning is ruthless. We talked about the snowball, but it's really online. SMLZ stays alive. Puff overreaches. The kill comes through, and that's the tower gold coming into his pocket.
Although it looks so close for Vici Gaming. They're 4K, almost 5,000 gold behind. Chalitza can't get near this turret now that Maple is here. And suddenly the win condition here for Vici Gaming is just not online.
Uh-oh.
Are they going to be caught out? No. Oh, it's you hate to see it.
And he's going to be, like, in his own mind, he's tilted. Because we, as the viewers, we're not going to, you know, I respect that. I understood what he was trying to do. He had a good idea. Just poor timing. But he didn't know that someone was there to begin with. So here's the start of it. Of course, they went for the fight. It was a bad call in general. So I think that they were just desperate looking for it. But we're not going to take a second look at the next portion of it. Because you can already see, tower's under threat.
Rift Herald hurts. Vici feels like it should have been there. They eventually take it down before the mid lane turret goes down, but Jay just gets poked through with that Trinity Force now, Ezreal. SMLZ will help get this turret, and there's nothing Vici can do. They have to pull away Superseed Vision in this bottom side jungle as well, and that means the Dragon will go over to Suning too.
We're just like 4 minutes away from the Muramana, that SMLZ to be fully stacked. And he already had this Trinity Force. So you could already see him just walking up forward, just putting in free damage. Nothing is really going to stop him. Yeah, that's a lot of damage.
Oh, yeah.
And he has Tarmkanch behind him, so he can actually just E towards him and get whisked away. So he is the most safest champion on the map right now.
He's 2K gold ahead. And Puff, he needs time on this Kai'Sa. There's only one item in his back pocket, 2 in SMLZ's. Vici just not having the same impact here in game number 3, but you can see where they're coming from. You know, it's like a telemarketer. You know they're doing it just because it's their job. Yep. You don't blame them. But you say, well, maybe you could do better.
I blame the system.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that system right now is just not working for Vici Gaming. 17 minutes in, and the outer turrets still stand. All of them for Suning. Not one has been dropped by Vici Gaming.
And it's going to be really rough. I mean, at this point, it's on them to pick up the CS so they can find a way for, like, compositionally, they can come back. But Black Cleaver has still not been built up on Jay. Jay has a little bit of time before he's going to be really relevant in the team fights, because looking at it front to back, he's going to get blown up. 17-minute Muramana has actually just been completed. I haven't seen it been done that early, because that was his first pickup really early on in the lane.
Pretty sure he had a couple of minutes ago as well. It's just absolutely insanity from the bottom laner. And SMLZ, there was so much hype around him. It feels like now that he got his comfort of Ezreal, it's a lot more profound. It's right to be hyping him up in game 3.
It was banned away previous game. The fact that he finally got a hand on it, you're starting to see really why teams don't want him on this pick.
Southwind going, as his name suggests, right the hell away. Baron's up in 130. And SMLZ's cleaning house. That's my blue buff, thank you very much. Maple's even waiting for dinner.
Uh-oh.
A bit of the old Erleme as we have in China. They've locked down SMLZ. This is great from Vici Gaming. But Hacker's coming in. Teleport to sandwich him down. Sword Art flashes over the wall. A very smart move here from Suning. But the kill,
about this one.
Comes through from Chalice. He takes the ultimate, but is he going to take the death? Ultimate misses from Zhao Ao. Glacial Path. It's a no. Suning are chasing this one down. Vici really wanted blood.
Yeah, completely pushed out there. You could see it in Chalice's eyes. He really wanted to get the kill. I looked at that and I was like, what are you doing, man? That was already a good enough play from Sword Art to flash over the wall. You're not going to reach Ezreal from that point forward. So here we go. Still more pressure being piled onto Vici.
They just walk to the top side of the map, take what is rightfully theirs. 7k now. Jay gets poked out once more, has to back away. You're right, Raz. Without that Black Cleaver, he cannot even stand near SMLZ. He cannot even challenge him. Chalitza as well is having the same issue. SMLZ's walking up to this inhibitor turret, and Vici Gaming need 3 members to come in.
Yeah, you can already see the major weakness that Vici has in their comp is that they're fairly mid-range. They don't have much long range other than Sejuani ultimate. So they really just are hoping and praying that Sej ult hits so they can follow up. Because if it doesn't, then suddenly, well, the flank is so much easier to walk away from. Tom Kench can just swallow whoever it is that's under threat. Wait for the rest of the friends, and suddenly it's a 5v5. When you're 8k gold down, Vici has to try and hold on.
All right, so what can we look forward to? Well, 2 items now from Jay. And part of that holding on is going to rely him getting some crucial knockups and damage onto that back line. SMLZ has picked up his 2nd tier. And at 20 minutes in the game with Baron up now and available, 80% of the map belongs to Suning. And Vici, they're renting from them at the moment. Unfortunately, rent prices are pretty damn high. So Baron went. Dragon's coming up in 120. Jay's to the top side of the map and looking to impact maybe a bit further. They've been able to push out their side lanes, but mid's still pushing in.
And I think it would be a waste of time for Ocean Dragon to even be looked at. 20 minutes in. It's going to be up in a minute, but I think that, to your point, Baron is going to be something that is going to be a primary focus. Great way to bait Vici in to the pit and force a fight, and a great way for, honestly, just Suning to either get the team fight or just pick up Baron and just start rolling through. That's the one way you end up taking the game quickly. It's the difference between a 30-minute slugfest and just a 25-minute clean victory.
Just getting to that point, isn't it? Like sitting in the brush. Now, Vici Gaming just have to make one play. Puff lands, but Hacker's nearby. That's a hard no. Bottom lane getting pushed in. Top lane eventually from Maple will come through. Base is not broken yet, which is really the only hope that Vici Gaming have to be able to manage this team fight. Oh, Southwind might prematurely use that ultimate. That's a true shot barrage, but it misses.
Yeah, he had Ezreal W. Just marked the Zillion, so that would have done a lot of damage. I don't think it would kill him, but it would definitely put him in about 10% HP.
They just walk bot lane though, Raz. Suning know exactly where to go. This is very ambitious from Vici Gaming. They think they've blindsided them, but teleport is up on both top and mid.
Yeah, Tom Kench has ulti too. Take a look at Tom Kench. They know that they're off of Baron, so they're just going straight for bottom lane inner tower.
Chalitza is left to himself. SMLZ
Oh my goodness.
runs forward. Hoy. And that's going to be him running away. This inhibitor turret is not long for the world, and Suning know that.
But they're trying to take a risk. Vici recognized that they were getting pushed around, and that was probably their best bet. Oh no.
Hey, mate, and then maybe this is the pick. Sword Art into SMLZ, devours him up, Xiao out into the front line, but look at Jay. The Aatrox needs to get some damage down onto Hacker, and he does. From the back line, it's a front to back that's kind of working out. Chalice jumps in, goes golden. It's a 5v5. The first kill to Vici Gaming. Where is the second? Glacial Path there. Ultimate used by Maple already. So Suning are trying to play that front to back style. It's a 1-for-1, but the risk here for Vici Gaming, as there it is. Oh, the snipe from downtown. Jay goes and drops.
They just needed HP so they can come back and defend from the inner tower and inhibitor. Both are gone now. If you're Suning Gaming, just back away, look for the Baron buff, and send Xiao back bottom lane. Yes, teleport, that's a great way to split up a 1-4 to end this game.
They'll pick up the Ocean on top of that inhibitor. Suning, 10,000 gold. It's not even a question, really, of gold at this point. It's more about if Vici can find more openings like that and convert even more. There's a Gwinsu's Rage Blade on Puff. That's 2-item Kai'Sa. You can see the damage output.
It's quite a bit.
But it was Jay in that fight that we were looking at more.
Yeah, I think that the way Jay played it out, I would say even alongside Chalitza, because just to watch it out. Because Puff, I thought, was going to die. He went in melee for quite some time. People weren't really focusing on him the moment Maple had stunned him out. But then you see Akali laid down the Shroud and immediately just went stopwatch, see if she can do anything. At least she caused some bit of harm, a lot of low HP bars, but SMLZ goes out of range and he's able to snipe out J4. Oh, not the J4. I always love that skin. That skin always gets me, man. Even every single time I see it on the Rift, I'm like, no, this is a Jarvis. Nah, it's any trucks.
I got you.
But yeah, 1-for-1 immediately turns in for a 2-for-1.
They get anything more. Now, Baron hasn't been picked up just yet.
Oh, no.
But Hacker is collapsing on the rest of Vici Gaming. Puff and Jay are in such poor positions here. They have to run back, and Jay's just in on the side, wondering if he can get the flank off, but Suning know he's there.
Good play to make here. So you push out this wave. It's a pretty chunky wave. And then you immediately head back. Oh, here we go.
I don't think he can 1v1 Maple. We definitely can't 5v1. Jay's stuck here. Doesn't have flash. See you later. Chrono Shift just to delay time. Vici Gaming, what are they hoping to achieve? Because the Glacial Path brings Maple over the wall. Sword Art saves him just in time. Vici Gaming lose their mid laner. Suning keep theirs, and now Baron's going to be theirs too.
Bit of desperation from Jay, because my point was going to be finished with Suning just backing away and going to Baron in the exact same position where Jay was. So he gets caught out in transition trying to flank them. If for whatever reason Suning just go for an all-out dive on tower, that doesn't happen. He loses his life. Sure, Maple is not going to be a part of the play. He lost a lot of HP for that, but that's a Baron for Suning.
Keeping it competitive though, and you know the Vici hype train I think is slowly departed. Like it might be pretty much gone by this point with a 12k gold lead over to the Suning super team. But Vici Gaming, they managed to get an inch, not the mile. Almost trading off to Maple is still a very interesting sign at 12k disadvantage and losing 3 dragons. So for Suning, they need to close this one out. There's still that potential. We talked about the late game of Vici as gold starts becoming irrelevant, which we're far off at the moment. Puff still has that opening and window, and the rest of Vici can follow along.
I just think that you're right about Vici being able to follow. I'm really impressed with what they've been able to show us throughout this best of 3. And for a team that's trying to develop and take this split to figure out an identity, this has been a really good step. That being said, your first series is up against Suning. And while you scarred them, really, this is just going to be them just being able to trounce you. This is a big wave that they're going to be dealing with. I don't know if they can take it.
I'm not sure they can do anything, but commend the participation walking forward. They still lose the inhibitor turret. True Shot Barrage, half else the Akali. And Suning just walk into the base. That inhibitor probably going to drop too, but SNLZ wants more. He tastes blood. He's hungry for it. I had Pig's blood the other day. Let me tell you, it tastes fantastic. And Suning walk to the top side of that. That inhibitor is gone.
Yeah, they got the inhibitor. Going to be able to get mid lane inhibitors. 3 inhibitors down. right now Vici are in the same position they were in game 2. They need to draw the line here.
All the minions are coming in. It's a last fight here for Vici Gaming. They pick it now. Puff walks forward. Chrono shifts onto him. SMLZ gets the kill. And unfortunately, Vici Gaming can't find anything. It's a clean ace for Suning to finish the game.
This was an SMLZ game, 5-0-7. And sure, I mean, Sword Art was styling 2-0-0-11. Not a lot of people give the praises to her at the time, Kench. But this was what we wanted to see from Suning. A nice sweep in game 3.
But it wasn't a sweep in the series, which was even nicer. Suning took their time to move into this one. Vici Gaming put up a fantastic fight, but for Suning, the super team came online at the end. Game 3 was about SMLZ.
Yeah, it was all about SMLZ. This is why I love, it feels like every series is just a nice storybook, right? Because a lot of the times you see one of the best teams in the league, theoretically, on a lot of people's maps.
Yeah.
Up against the worst team in a lot of people's metrics going into the series. And it wasn't just a blowout like a lot of people had anticipated. It was a hard-fought fight. And it was a great lesson to both SMLZ and Sword Art that honestly thought they were going to come into this game, have an easy time of things. But for them, they developed as players and as a unit.
Game 2 was about Maple as well, and the LMS squad that came into this team. We said, how are they going to perform? How are they going to adapt and change the way of Suning gaming when this whole team has pretty much been remodeled apart from the top side? And I think we got to see good light of players like Maple and Sword Art.
Yeah, I think Maple and Sword Art, definitely you can see what the benefits were. I think for Sword Art, you already saw that he was always on the game plan, excellent shot calling, and positioning to protect SMLZ. That was great. For Maple, he actually started a lot of fights for the team. He was very stable, and I think drafting-wise was so flexible that Jay got smashed in game 2, and he didn't have much of a room to breathe in game 3 because they were always looking towards bottom lane. Maple and I would say Maple and the jungle that they have Hacker already showcasing that their 2v2 is excellent.
Yeah, look, Hacker had a series that I think would still be commendable, and especially for Vici Gaming, developmental squad, well, let's stick with that for a couple of weeks, Raz, but maybe after that, this is the team that can turn into maybe a middle of the pack or more closely a team that could challenge
I would
FBX
say,
or Billy.
To your point, one team that we had an identity as a great bottom lane team was Rogue Warriors. And that was an identity we didn't think that was going to be coming through from Vici Gaming. I thought Vici, as a squad, really didn't have it. But for this team, I think, yeah, we're going to be seeing a good rivalry, in my opinion, between Vici and Rogue Warriors amongst their bottom lane.
Especially that bottom lane, that looks so interesting. However, a best of 3 comes to an end, and another one is about to start. We're going to head over to Chengdu after this small break, and then jump in with OMG and IG.